Well, it turns out you do an expose on H-1B visa fraud that's seen by millions of people, and things start happening in that world. Things start there's a lot happening right now with regard to cracking down on visa fraud. A lot of people they're asking me what's next, what's going on isn't fraud, all these different things that people try to tell me. My favorite though is that's you have it backwards. You're the one who's too stupid to understand this isn't actually fraud. Might I present to you these cases? ICE arrests Indian couple in Texas smuggling case. An alien from India ran a large human smuggling operation in Texas, the agency posted. He and his spouse were apprehended at our Houston office by ICE on charges of human smuggling, document fraud, and overstaying their visa. Human traffickers will be caught and held accountable. So, again, I have argued this entire time that I have been on this, and the more emails that I get and the more tips that we get and the more you look into this, you realize this is also a human trafficking situation. So I love that they went to the human trafficking angle, but you notice in this press release that I just showed you, every time they're like, oh yeah, thank you. They're like, it's not fraud, it's not fraud, it's not fraud. Oh, what's that word that I see right there? Document fraud. So if you're making up false documents to try to get yourself a visa, the whole thing is fraud, which is right there in that sentence in the middle of your screen. So turns out there is fraud. And I can tell you there's a bunch of it. There's a lot of it. A lot of what we're seeing out there is fraud and human smuggling, even if the employees are active participants in this, because they're bringing them in here. They're pledging that they're getting paid a particular wage, and then they are skimming off the top, a lot off the top, actually, to enrich themselves and the employee who is desperate to be in this country. Now, I'm not saying that they are not responsible for their own choices, and if they have committed fraud and they have committed crimes, they should be held accountable. But you understand the reasoning why, right? So even if the employees are active participants in this, I mean, you had illegals who were active participants in being smuggled across the border. It's still human smuggling. It's still human trafficking. Same rules apply here. This still has real world consequences as well. Let me give you another case that just recently popped up. 2 Texas residents operating a visa racket indicted for visa fraud, money laundering, and RICO conspiracy. So according to the indictment, Abdul Hadi and some guy named Muhammad, the law offices of D. Robert Jones, PLLC, and Reliable Ventures Inc. engaged in a scheme to commit visa fraud. There's that pesky word again, visa fraud, to enrich themselves and others and to cause individuals to fraudulently obtain entry and immigration status into the United States. As part of the scheme, the indictment alleges that the defendants exploited the EB-2, EB-3, and there it is, H-1B visa programs. Specifically, the defendants caused classified advertisements to be placed in a daily periodical for non-existent jobs. These advertisements were placed in order to satisfy a Department of Labor requirement to offer the position to the United States citizens before hiring foreign nationals. Once they received the fraudulently obtained certification from the Department of Labor, the defendants filed a petition to USCIS to obtain an immigrant visa for the visa seekers. And at the time the petitions were submitted, the defendants also submitted an application for legal permanent residence so that the visa seekers could obtain a green card. Oh, wow. It's almost like that's happening a whole bunch. Now, according to the indictment, to make the non-existent jobs look legitimate, the defendants received payment from visa seekers, then returned a portion of the money back to the visa seekers as purported payroll. Now, I love this particular tidbit because I keep going. Where is I know that there's real money being listed on all of these Department of Labor filings for these visa applications and visa jobs. I mean, like $90,000, $100,000, and a ton of them for a small business that doesn't even know how to make a website work. Like they've got the shittiest websites you've ever seen. And somehow they're like multi-million-dollar companies that can afford to bring in all these people and pay them. And I'm like, where is there's a money exchange happening. How is that happening? Now we see the rest of the story. The DOJ also continued, if convicted, the defendants face up to 20 years in federal prison, and Murshid faces denaturalization if convicted of unlawfully obtaining and attempting to obtain his United States citizenship. I love that for him. I say much more, because that's what is happening in all of these. These H-1Bs and these H-4s are coming in, and they are coming in. The H-1B has to work in his particular job, but he brings the H-4, his dependent, in on a visa, the H-4 visa, and then initially can't work. Eventually, if she applies, she can work, and then she can create a whole bunch of shell companies, a whole bunch of companies that are not actually doing real work, and then they bring in more H-1Bs. There's just a problem. There's a problem with this, because unless you're a scammer, once you become a green card holder or an American citizen, a naturalized citizen, unless you're becoming that, like those people who are becoming naturalized citizens who are not scammers are aware of the fraud because they're looking around them and they're going, I'm Indian, but I'm an American citizen now, and I can't get the jobs that I was getting before because the scammers are only hiring H-1Bs. This is all about to come to a boiling point, my friends. Everyone is seeing it all around you. I am getting emails from the American Indian community, or I should say Indian American community, every day. By the way, this is sort of a preview of what I'm covering in my next expose. I'm trying really hard not to spill the beans on so many things that we're working on. And I mean, even just the developments today are incredible. But this kind of thing is happening all out in the open. They're posting ads like this in their group chats or online. Documents, editing services, H-1B, visa, driver's license with a +91 country code that you can contact. Any guesses? Do you have any guesses what the +91 country code is? What country that is? That you can contact them to get falsified documents, to get fraudulent documents? Yeah, that's in India. Country code, that's India. Contact them. But hey, there's no fraud. There's no fraud going on. These are just people in search of a better life. These are just people who are here to, just to live the American dream. I mean, they're going to bring a cow in their house and have the cow pee and poop in it, according to the tips that I've been getting. But other than that, they just want part of the American dream. Now, remember earlier this week, the New York Times called me racist for exposing this. Like, this was just the other day. There was a hit piece against me. Now, they didn't want it. I was a conservative content creator. They didn't want to name me because they didn't want more people to see it. How the visa debate for foreign workers fuels racism against South Asians. A dispute over the impact of H-1B visas on U.S. workers has been overshadowed by racist rhetoric. Oh, troubling echoes of the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. The one that's happening, actually. You can drop the theory, New York Times. It's not, you can drop the conspiracy and you can drop, well, it is a conspiracy. You guys are the ones conspiring, not us. Conspiracy theory, it is no more. It is a Great Replacement conspiracy where all of the globalists want to bring in all of these people, all of these foreigners who refuse to assimilate while they are opening up our borders, while they are, hello, everyone is looking around them. Everyone's communities are changing. Of course it is the Great Replacement. And it is a conspiracy. It's just you guys are the people who are conspiring. Not us. We're trying to stop it. And I know that's why you hate us so much and you want to call us racist. Well, on that topic, I want to share an email that I got from an Indian viewer who, if you're watching today, hello. I'm also doing racism wrong. I said earlier President Trump is doing racism wrong. I'm also doing racism really wrong because this email says, your investigation into the H-1B visa scam is absolutely award-winning journalism. I am East Indian, born in India. I legally immigrated to Canada in 1973. I am not a racist. You have exposed a very shocking scam carried out by East Indians. I am totally disgusted with such corrupt behavior by my own people. You have called out the scam for what it is, fraud. I believe that every one of the H-1B visa scammers, including anyone who benefited from the scam, ought to be held accountable with serious penalties and definite deportation. Additionally, all companies who participated in the scam must also be held accountable. Excellent work, Sara. You have put all the so-called expert investigative journalists to shame. The article in the New York Times regarding this issue is a disgrace. Most importantly, you have single-handedly uncovered and documented massive H-1B visa fraud in the U.S. Keep up the good work. I find your commentary very honest and to the point. Maybe you should consider running for Congress. Sincerely, an East Indian immigrant and a Canadian citizen. Every day, my inbox is flooded with emails just like this from Indians. It's not racist. By the way, I don't know. I get that you should run for Congress all the time. I just don't know if I am glutton for punishment that much. I don't know if I hate myself enough to run for Congress. Boy, that's a job. But I'll never say never. It's just difficult to say. So bringing in foreign, cheaper workers is one part of the issue. The other are these huge companies that are prioritizing profit and hurting Americans in the process. And I hear you guys. I hear you, because you will email me and you will say, well, don't tell them to stop the H-1Bs, because then instead of, if we don't have the H-1B program, they're just going to offshore and outsource all of their workers. And then it's just going to take more American jobs. Well, I think we can work on both at the same time. But I do understand your concern. Let's take Amazon. The other day, they laid off 16,000 workers. Now, they said that the layoffs, here it is, Bloomberg. Amazon says layoffs are due to AI. The data says offshoring. Now, that graph shows the percentage of new job posting that are located in offshore countries. As you can see, they're going up and up and up while they kill thousands of American jobs. And here's another one. Amazon to invest additional $35 billion in India by 2030, taking total planned spending to $75 billion. And I saw this video of these Indian Amazon workers celebrating. There they are. That's great. Working hard, you know? They are excited about, all of this cash influx. Not a lot. Now, listen, if you don't get your Prime delivery, if you don't get your 2-day delivery, this might be why. I don't know. They don't look like they're working very hard over there. I don't think they're working very hard over there, and you're suffering for it on both ends, the front and the back end. And this is why we are working so hard to reform the system. We'll have more on that very, very soon. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.